One of Auburn's key commitments believes that the energy is where it needs to be for Auburn football.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen or second listen every single day. This is a happy hour edition of the show, and we've got a special guest, Auburn commit running back Alvin Henderson. Alvin, appreciate your time. Really, really do. I mean, what's the overall energy within the Auburn football program from your perspective? The latest big flip, the latest member of this recruiting class by Freeze and the Tigers. How would you describe the energy around Auburn's program?
Honestly, I just know from me flipping since, I think it's been almost 2 weeks since I flipped. I just know, it's still a lot of buzz around, over social media, and not just social media, but, the coaching staff still fired up, Coach Nix, Coach Freeze, everybody that's on the staff, man, they happy that I flipped because I think, when I was there a few weeks ago, I went and did, the day after I committed, they told me, they was man, we've been recruiting you for, ever since 8th grade now. So, and we've been hoping for a minute this happened. The coaching staff changed. Of course, Coach Harsin was there and he recruited me. But I just feel since Coach Freeze been there, I've been his number one priority. I know he recruited his guys in the 24 class, but it's I was a need for him, and I just feel he just feel relieved now knowing that I'm committed and I can help him bring in other guys.
Was there a moment, like an exact specific moment where you're okay, it's time to flip? Or was it just kind of, like you said, years of Auburn coming after you, and you said, okay, it is time?
So to be real, it was kind of a little bit of both. I knew for even before I committed to Penn State, as I was getting recruited this whole time and taking other visits, I know, you do something and you just have a thing in your mind, man, I really know this. I knew Auburn was the spot, but I really wasn't sure. But what made me really sure was I think I talked to Coach Freeze when June started because I committed in April. So he waited until official visits started in June. And he called me and he was man, I'm having to bring other guys on OVs. And he was it just don't seem right not having you because, the original plan was for me to be committed and me be up there in June with a lot of the dudes who take OVs and me try to, get them to come. But he just told me, he was man, we really need you. Obviously, we got to recruit other guys, but it's not even about that. When you tell us that you coming there, things are closing down. And I just feel it was one day, I think it was the week before my Penn State official visit. And, me and him had a heart-to-heart conversation. And I just told him, I was I just want to take my Penn State official so I can see how things are shaping up with them and seeing what I like. And he told me, he was I understand that. I feel it's best for you to take your visit. And not only me, but my family, they just felt Coach Freeze accepted everything while me being committed to Penn State because me and him talked almost every day. And he did everything he could to flip me, and it worked.
Sure. Yeah. See what's out there. No question. No question. You talk about it being a need, and I mean, obviously, you're the top running back in the state, so everybody's gonna, call you, see what the interest is. But you look at Auburn's roster, and the guys who are expected to come back are going to be, upperclassmen, Jeremiah Cobb and Damari Austin. I mean, you got to see a pretty easy and clear path to playing time here too. I mean, they need more running backs in the future.
Yeah. And to be real, that's been kind of the main thing they've been preaching to me ever since before my junior season. Especially after I had the type of season I had last year, Auburn always knew what I could do, but I feel after them knowing that they was gonna lose, 3 backs this class, and Coach Freeze told me, why go to another state or why go get another dude when we have you in our backyard? And that's kind of thing he preached to me the whole time. You see what I'm doing. You see how I'm building it. I just brought in elite receivers, that's going to open up the box for you when you come in 25. So it's kind of a win-win for both of us. I don't have to go to another state and grab a number one back when I can just get you. And also the flip side of it for you, you could stay here an hour away from home and, just come here and be dominant.
Sure. There's an assumption that Auburn is going to get 2 backs in this class. Has that been communicated to you? Is that discussed, or you kind of wait to see what Freeze does?
Yeah, so they for sure taking two backs this class. I knew even before I committed to Penn State, I already knew they was gonna take two backs because Coach Freeze already made it clear to me, ever since day one that he gotta have 5 running backs on roster. And they have a lot of walk-ons that's pretty good. A dude that impressed him in the spring. So I feel like they may put him on scholarship. I don't know for sure, but this whole time he's been recruiting me, ever since like January when it's picked up, he made it clear to me that he had to take two. Now, before I was committed, he had a list of guys that he was looking at trying to get. But after I committed to Penn State, now obviously, had to go deep out there and find other dudes. But now, I just actually talked to my boy Grant, and it's a lot of other running backs that I'm communicating with, trying to get them to come join us because, man, the only thing Coach Freeze talked to me about now is, the Ronnie Brown and the Cadillac situation and how, that could reunite at Auburn now. The only other running back in state is Turbo, which he's committed to Bama. But it's a few dudes that I'm talking to that Coach Freeze is trying to bring in with me for sure.
What's the mentality of a running back and guys that you would want to share that room with? I mean, you're a bell cow guy. You can handle 20 carries if you really had to. I think, but do you want a guy in the room that has a different skill set than you? Is that kind of the way you would approach it if you were this coaching staff?
So really and truly, like Coach Freeze considered me as an every down back. He considered me, he can line me up and slide. He can put me at, receiver. He can give me the ball on jet sweeps. Like, he feel like he can give me the ball any type of way. But really and truly, I feel like, I want another running back that could come in with me and be an every down back as well. Now, obviously some running backs can play like, certain downs, but I feel like, the type of backs he's trying to bring in my class is dudes that can play every down. Now it's a few backs that he's looking at, that are more powerful backs, more backs, that can just get the ball out, hand the ball off. But really and truly, with them having Cobb, Cobb an every down back, and, DA, he's an every down back. And then after DA leave, it'll just be the two that come in with me and obviously Cobb. So really and truly, I think he's looking more for like somebody like a power back, somebody to replace Sean, like Sean, how he played. I think he's looking for someone like that. I don't know for sure though.
Sure. So, I mean, you won't get to play with him, but I'm sure you've watched him a ton. I mean, how would you assess Jarquez Hunter going into the season?
Yeah, so one thing, while I've been getting recruited by Auburn, obviously Coach Lack was, the number one recruiter for me even before Coach Freeze came. So I had, numerous of sit-down conversations with Coach Lack where we broke down my film and turned on Tank Bigsby film and Jarquez. And I just feel like, Jarquez and Tank was an every down back, but Jarquez is too. Like, you can throw Jarquez in the field anytime and he's going to be ready. So I consider myself like that's one person, Coach Freeze considered me as the back he have on roster now. Like, Jarquez can pretty much get the ball in any type of way and he's going to be dominant with it. So, that's the way Coach Freeze consider me. Like, as long as we can get you with the ball, like, I think his main thing he told me was, I averaged like 15 yards per carry last year. So he said, Auburn averaged 9 yards per carry last year. So he pretty much told me, like, once you get those 5 to 6 yards past the O-lineman, that's when your abilities, kick in and you do what you got to do to get the ball. So I feel like, all of that are playing a factor, especially, watching Jarquez.
Being a main target for the previous staff, and then now obviously the staff that you're committed to now, what is that transition like? I mean, there were a lot of questions on, okay, who is Auburn going to hire? A lot of folks wanted Auburn to hire Coach Lack, and then, no longer with the program. But did Auburn do a good job of kind of keeping that communication open with you in that process as Freeze took over?
Yes, for sure. Because, when Coach Harsin was there, me and him didn't really, obviously I was a freshman, so we didn't talk as much. But like me and Coach Cadillac, we've been locked in the whole time. So I was thinking like, because really and truly, like, I never wanted to play at Auburn. Like, because I grew up a Bama fan. I mean, I watched Auburn, but I never wanted to play at Auburn. Sure. So, that's why Coach Lack played, he played a huge role into me, coming to Auburn. So I feel like the first staff, they recruited me hard. Like, they was on me, we stayed in communication. It was like my 9th offer. But I feel like what really, set the trend for me to consider Auburn was when Coach Freeze got there in January. I think he took the job and I was there like the next week. I was there that next Monday. And, I didn't know Coach Freeze. Coach Freeze didn't know me. But, the first thing he told me was, like, you're a game changer and I need you. And, he stuck to that ever since day one. And I just feel like everybody he's brought in with him ever since he got here, 2 Januaries ago, like, they did an awesome job of not just recruiting me, but my family as well. And even with, Coach Cadillac leaving too, like, I swear when Coach Nix got the job, like I seen it. Like 10 minutes later, he texted me and he was just telling me like, man, I need you. You know, I was at Ole Miss when we offered you, but obviously like I'm here to build a relationship with you now that I'm at Auburn, and we want to do everything we can do to get.
More with Alvin in just a moment. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book, and it's #1 for a reason. They understand that, okay, it's the summertime. Sports slow down a little bit. It's really all we've got right now is Major League Baseball. That doesn't matter. There's still plenty of stuff going on over at FanDuel Sportsbook. This summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball and, of course, the Locked On Podcast Network. We've heard from some of the current folks on the roster about how, I guess, intentional Hugh Freeze is as a recruiter. Talk about, if you don't mind, the early development of the relationship with Coach Nix, who I assume was one of your main recruiters, throughout, I guess, since he's been here.
Yeah, so with Coach Nix, man, like me and Coach Nix kind of got a bond now. Like I had a bond with Coach Lack too, but me and him kind of got a bond where, Coach Nix don't really talk a lot. So if you get him to talk, he really considering he like you. So Coach Nix, he don't only talk to me, but he talked to my mom more than he talked to me. And that's one thing, that factored into my decision, a coach that really communicated with my mom. But, like, our relationship is slim to none. Like, me and him, when we talk, we don't even talk about football because he told me day one, like, I know what you can do. I'm not here to recruit you as a player no more. I want you as a person. So when me and him talk, like, we just talking about, life situations and everything, how our day is going, what we intending to do during the week. Like this morning, he texted me and he sent me a video of his daughter playing with dolphins. Like, our relationship is like tight. And, with Coach Freeze, it's just, man, like, I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, Coach Freeze never shied away from getting me. Like, even a lot of the dudes that you, like, when y'all see, they saying, oh, Auburn recruiting this dude, like, I know Julian going through it now. Like, he keep it real with you the whole time, and he never going to shy away. Like, really and truly, I feel like Coach Freeze picked up more on me while I was committed to Penn State than he did while I was uncommitted.
Sure. Well, I mean, you brought him up. I mean, Julian Lewis. I mean, there's several big names that Auburn's trying to add to this class, with whether it's Juju or Cunningham over in Mississippi, the very talented 5-star receiver. I mean, what are Auburn's chances with these guys, you think, Alvin?
To be real, I talked to Julian. Like, me and Julian talked when we was freshmen. When I was, I think I was a sophomore. He was a freshman, and I was considering going to Carrollton. But really and truly, I feel like Auburn has a great chance. Like, I don't really speak on the dudes that's gonna commit and who I know coming, but we got a high chance at getting Julian for sure. Like, he been around Auburn a lot, and Coach Freeze had a lot of dudes that he was looking at in the 25 class. And same way with me, he told me back in January, like, man, I feel like Julian is gonna be our guy. And when Coach Freeze say that, he gonna do everything he can to get a person. And I just feel like, I know he recruited me hard, but I feel like he's recruiting Julian hard too. And I just feel like the things that Coach Freeze would be telling him, and especially the way Coach Freeze offense, fits a quarterback, I just feel like it'd be hard for Julian not to, accept everything Coach Freeze got to offer.
So when I assume you guys either have like a group text or at least, a big conversation somehow that includes the 2025 class, or at least folks that are committed. Yeah. Do you guys ever talk about like, oh man, it'd be great to have, this guy, or, oh man, this guy's committing next week, I hope it's us. What are y'all hearing? What does that look like?
So really and truly, like, man, I'm gonna be honest, I was recruiting for Auburn while I was committed to Penn State. So a lot of the dudes that's supposed to be committed this month, like, I was telling them, like, I was texting them on Instagram and Vanish, and we're like, bro, like, Auburn is spot. So yes and no, but I don't really, we have a group chat, but we really don't communicate in it. But we be communicating a lot. But I feel like with me, like, I talk to a lot of the dudes that's supposed to commit, and man, I feel high on them, because when I see like a dude hop out on Twitter, like he's considering Auburn top 5, okay, I hit him up, like, especially Caleb Cunningham, like I hit him up as soon as I seen that tweet that Auburn was his #1 school, like I start hitting him up. And as well as some of the other dudes, a lot of the dudes that say their recruitment is closed down too, I still, communicate with them just to try to see, what their mind frame is.
Yeah, right. You think when it's all said and done, you'll be part of a top 5 class, Alvin?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because man, like, it's a lot of big names that, that's on my phone right now that I'm communicating with, and a lot of great guys. So after we get everybody, like I just watched the video, like, man, people be decommitting and committing, but I'm committed. So when dudes see that, I'm locked in, and, a lot of the other dudes from Alabama locked in and bought into the system, I feel like we'll bring, some big name guys in.
Great stuff from Alvin. Let me know what you think of these types of interviews in the comments down below or on social media. Just be sure to hit us up, like the video, subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow. This has been Locked On Auburn.